Hello everyone. It has now been nearly, well, almost exactly 1 month since I have left London and moved to Kent. So I wanted to talk a little bit about how I found it and if I regret anything, and just give you a little update on life outside of London, because London is where I've lived for nearly 8 years, and even though I've been other places in the UK, I've never really lived anywhere outside of London for a prolonged period of time. And yeah, it's now been a month. I have to say the move was very stressful, and basically everything that could have gone wrong went wrong, from not being able to get the van that we wanted to it raining and being stranded, and then Tate took to the whole move much worse than we anticipated. He's fine now, he's enjoying it now, but the first few weeks were really difficult with him because he was just, well, we ripped him out of his environment. Obviously he really loved the old place, he was very chill there, and once we moved he just kind of freaked out, and we didn't really expect that, so we couldn't really leave the house for a while because he would just go nuts when you just turned your back on him. Luckily now he's kind of settled in and he's fine, and he can be left again for a few hours and he's fine about it. But that was very stressful. But as far as living not in London goes, I still work in London. I work from home sometimes, but I do go into London at least 3 times a week usually. So I've been in London most days of the week. Usually I usually go 4 times, but sometimes I've been 3 or 2 times in the last few weeks, just because there's been so much to do here at home. Obviously there's still so much to do. I'm a very like impatient person, so the hardest thing for me is to just chill out and accept that I have years to complete this house. I know it's never going to be actually done. I think my parents built a new house when I was about 11 or 10 or something, and so that was about nearly 20 years ago, and that's still not finished. So I'm kind of aware that owning a house is like an ongoing project, but every room just needs something, in my opinion. Like every room I go into, I'm like, oh, the floors need sanding, the walls need painting, like I want to rip all of this out, but I need to be patient. I need to get my finances in order so I can actually do it, because it is expensive. There's already been a few issues on the house, a broken window, 2 leaks. More about that in my upcoming house vlog, and so I'll start kind of just doing like, not necessarily weekly vlogs, just whenever there is something going on with the house I'll vlog it, and then whenever I have enough footage I'll put together a little vlog, so watch out for that. But yeah, that's all been very stressful, and so I've been kind of, my mind hasn't really been focusing so much about not living in London, but especially the last few days I've noticed it mostly because of stupid things really. Like I was at home and I just fancied sushi, and you can't really find sushi in Medway that easily, especially not on like delivery services. There isn't an itsu, there isn't a wasabi, so I was just like, I have to make it myself. So the convenience factor is gone a little bit. There is no Pret, there isn't really a big supermarket near me. There was never a big supermarket near me in Honor Oak Park either, but there was a Sainsbury's down the road which had everything that you kind of needed, and now I live near like a different shop, but it's much smaller and has a lot less stuff. It's just kind of, yeah, accepting that on Sundays everything kind of closes at 4, sometimes 6. You just don't have access to the same vast amount of things, and now that they bring out new things for London, it's like, oh, you feel a little bit left out because you're not in London. But then again, I still travel to London a lot, so I still feel like I'm part of that scene. But on the flip side, I have really enjoyed how quiet it is at night. Where I lived in Honor Oak Park, it was pretty quiet at night, but there's just something about being outside of London that just makes it way more quiet. I think in London you just have this certain amount of background noise that you just can't get rid of no matter where you kind of go, but where I am now I don't have that, so sometimes I'm just awake at night like, wow, I really can't hear anything. Sometimes I'll hear like some fox, but otherwise it's very quiet. So I've been enjoying that. Something I already knew and I've talked about before is people are a lot more chatty and engaging outside of London, which can be good and bad. So for me, as someone who's lived in London for a long time recently, it's a little bit challenging sometimes, because sometimes, you know, when you go to the post office or you go to the shop and you just want to grab something quickly and then engage you in lots of conversation, you're like, oh my god, just get on with it. But then on the other hand, I think it is nice that, you know, you get into more conversations. So when I walk Tate, I talk to a lot more dog owners here. There are a lot more dogs here as well, which is something I noticed. So basically on my road, pretty much everyone has a dog, which was also very difficult because Tate is not really used to that. So where we lived, there was dogs on the road, but they were like 5-6 houses over. So he didn't really ever hear dogs next door to him. So now that we have dogs all around us, it was quite difficult the first few weeks because he just went off all the time because he wasn't used to hearing dogs so close to his territory. Especially in the garden, it's still a bit of a challenge. But yeah, it's my whole point was it's nice that you talk to people more and that people are just more approachable and friendly. Again, I think Londoners are very friendly. I just think they're a bit more efficient in their friendliness. I've made a whole video about that actually, so I'll link it below and I'll put it in a little info card as well. But this is not London bashing. I love London and I'll forever be like partly Londoner in my heart. But now that I'm not there, you know, I notice these things. What is other things I've noticed? Not that many things, to be honest. I think there is which I've also mentioned before, there is a stigma about Londoners. So when I talk to people here, sometimes they're like, oh, where have you just moved from? And I'm like, London. They're like, oh. So, you know, you get that like, oh, okay, Londoner, blah, blah, blah. But I don't really care. I still just London in my heart, love it. But yeah, so everything's going pretty well. Otherwise, now that I've settled in, I got my whole deposit back from the last flat, thank God. And now I just want to get on with it. I just want to renovate. I just need to save up some money now because, you know, just got a mortgage and all that stuff. Setting up all the bills and going through all the boring stuff. And now I just want to get stuff done and make it nice. But it's been difficult. This house is crooked and nothing seems to fit through anything. Nothing seems to ever fit in a corner. Nothing seems to just go anywhere. So there have been some challenging moments with that. And then, yeah, another thing I actually wanted to quickly talk to you about, which kind of has nothing really to do with not living in London. Well, kind of does. So if you remember, I am a student. I haven't talked about uni for a little while, but I'm still a student. So I started a part-time course in early January 2018, and I was meant to finish at the end of this year's term, so in December 2019 or, well, January 2020, whichever way you want to look at it. And it's going okay. So I've completed all my modules that I got given, and I completed all of them with distinction. But basically the uni messed up my scheduling. So I normally would be writing my dissertation right now, but there is a module called PG Research Methods, which is a module that teaches you how to research for academic papers and things like that. And I was meant to take this in my first or second term, but unfortunately the scheduling people messed it up, and it has been scheduled for my last term, so this term. And because I'm a part-time student and I still have another module to take, they basically said, well, this would be the maximum amount of modules and you can't really hand in your dissertation whilst taking the research methods module, or even hand it in before, because I think hand in for dissertation is like right now and the term starts in a week. So I would have had to hand in my dissertation right now and then take the module on how to write a dissertation afterwards. So they said, well, that obviously doesn't really work. So they have now basically extended my course by 2 terms. So now I have to go to uni next year from January to May, and then I have to write my dissertation from May to September. I don't luckily have to pay extra for that because it's their mistake, but it's really annoying for me because obviously now I live in Kent and my uni is in London, and it is also, by the way, really far in West London. So it is about as far as you could get from me right now. So I have to go there another, well, essentially another year now. So I'm not too happy about that, but I don't know. I'll just see how I get on. If I really can't be asked, then I don't know if I'll finish it, but it would be good because I've already paid for it. Well, student finance has already paid for it and I'm due to start paying it back soon, but that's also been annoying. So it's just been a bit stressful, but all in all, I am happy with my decision. I'm loving being a homeowner. I think it's so great that you can just wake up and just change things if you don't like them. Of course, the responsibility that comes with it has also hit me a few times now. Like I said, had some leaks, had to pay someone to fix it, and it was still broken afterwards, and then they tried to fix it again, and now I'm just waiting for it to rain so I can see if it's fixed. But basically, yeah, that's frustrating. If something breaks, you can't just email your landlord and be like, hey, can you like sort it out? No, you are your own landlord, so you have to fix it yourself. So there's good and bad, but overall I'm really happy with my decision. I think moving out of London to get a bigger property was the right thing to do. My train into London is super fast. It's like 30 odd minutes, and I am just quite happy. I'm still overwhelmed, and I'm just coming out of a very stressful phase, but I think in a few months, especially when we come up to Christmas, which is like my favorite season ever, and I can decorate the house and everything, I think it'll be really nice. But yeah, I just wanted to give you a little update about how I've been finding it, how German Girl in London is doing outside of London. She doing okay? And yeah, like I said, I'll be doing some home vlogs and things like that. So again, if you're interested in that kind of thing, please subscribe and then you won't miss it. Yeah, if you have any questions, leave them below as per usual, and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.